So, Kenny Ken back again. Arsenal, 5 straight wins. I think that's a record under Mikel Arteta. He's been breaking records left, right, and centre this season for the wrong reasons. He broke another one today. First time we've not qualified in Europe or for Europe for 25 years, which is very disappointing. Obviously, Gareth Bale had something to say about that with his 2 goals late on. Kasper Schmeichel with an own goal. But today it was just a bit of a weird game, wasn't it? It was like it was comfortable. We won. It was easy. We could have won by more, but no pressure, no problem. What did you make of it overall, man?
You know what? Again, it's no pressure, no problem, and I think that probably goes to certain players as well. Like Pepe was just unbelievable today. It's easily his best performance I've seen in Arsenal shirt, and it's not just the 2 goals or 2 finishes. It's the fact that he won the ball back, and he just looked like a problem. I was thinking, where is this player? As I said before, he just reminds me so much of Florian Malouda, when he was at Chelsea. And I do think next season, my standards and expectations for this player is so high now because I've now seen the sort of performances that at Arsenal that, albeit towards the end without any pressure, that that we were talking about when he was at Lille. So I'm really, really excited about that in terms of Pepe. And I thought Odegaard as well, someone, he was involved in both goals in terms of assists. Again, he worked hard as well. So that time when, McAllister went in the box, he was about to shoot, Odegaard's tackled back.
Yeah.
So they worked their nuts off. I don't know whether that's because they're under pressure or it's the fact that fans are in. They just want to give us a good send-off. But, performances, no problem, Partey actually hit shots that hit the target, hit the bar. The goalkeeper made a save and everything. So it's one of those things where you look at that and you think, where has this been all season? But in terms of the whole situation, right, is that it's too little, too late. Too little, too late. And I think that's always going to be a theme. But you talk about the match, very happy with it. Like the only defensive scare was when the ball went over the top and Connolly. Like I said, managed to get behind the defence. He managed to inexplicably shoot wide, but it was a typical Arsenal performance. Dare I say, like the performances we had under Arsene Wenger, where this stage of the season, when we know we're not going to win any trophies, like we're safe in the knowledge of where we're going to finish, and we just play, and that's the thing today.
Yeah, mate, it was a bit of a dead rubber, wasn't it? Let's be real. Obviously, fans were allowed back in the ground. The protest was an absolute shambles, by the way.
I was actually going to go to that. I was actually going to talk about that.
Yeah, go on, talk about it, Kenny. It was a shambles.
Well, in terms of the protests, I looked at the situation. I thought, right, you've got an open goal here because Josh Kroenke is actually in the ground, and someone announced it before. But in mitigation, I was on my Twitter handle, and apparently, again, this is not like I'm not saying this is the gospel truth, but it seems that fans were actually met at Arsenal Station and most of the stations and asked if they had a ticket, where they had to show their tickets. And those ones with tickets were ushered away from the stadium and they were ushered away from the protests and had to go the long way around take the COVID route to their seats. Now, I'm not saying that affected the protest, but I do know that there was a situation where, in terms of the numbers that we thought the prices were going to get, Arsenal Football Club, in terms of their stewards and what's his name? Was it Max Ganella? Mark Ganella. Yeah, Ganella. Well, Mark Ganella did a very, very good job in terms of coordinating fans away from the protests. So maybe that's a strategic reason why it didn't happen. However, again, as I said to you a couple of days on the stream, there's too many Arsenal fans who just, they haven't been there for 15 months. They're sending photos, how emotional, how great it's to be there. Not one of them is ever going to mention, making a stand against Stan Kroenke. So, as far as I'm concerned, there's got to be other times of protest. If more businessmen make a bid for the club, then maybe that's another opportunity into next season for maybe protests before the game. But there's going to be other opportunities, but this is the best opportunity we could have had because Kroenke was here.
Yeah,
we missed it.
Yeah,
And that's the thing about Arsenal fans as well, is that unfortunately their love for the club supersedes their hatred for Kroenke. So they're going to buy match tickets and they're going to buy merchandise, Lee.
mate. I see a video earlier where it was like maybe 150 people protesting, but then there was about 70 people bowling in the Armory.
Well, yeah, and that's the same situation. We got to remember, we had that when in 2016 when we had the protest. It was basically time for change, and basically
Yeah,
they
we
made
were there. Yeah, the Norwich game.
Yeah, it was a Norwich game. Now, basically, what the situation was, it wasn't a generic protest. It was basically a protest against greed, the greed of the Premiership, the greed of the club, the Kroenkes, and a Wenger out. So we're all kind of divided. So what's happening is that because we all decided to make it one protest, there was always people who were challenging us, and people who were ripping up their papers in the stand, and saying, "Oh, we want to go to," and the buzzwords as well when you do have protests. Oh, it's not really good for the players.
Yeah.
It upsets the players if there's conflict.
Oh, we need unity. Unity is a big word, Kenny, isn't it? Unity.
And that's the big thing as well. The big thing as well is that we've been in WhatsApp groups and we've had arguments with good friends of ours where they've told us that we shouldn't be doing this because we're upsetting the players. So, it's where it's. I'm afraid that's where it is. You've got too many people who are conflicted. You know what I mean? Look at Man United, that successful protest, but there's always going to be the old Man United fan calling their fellow fans thugs and asking for them to be banned. Yet they want the same thing. The Kroenke's out, and they're going to benefit from getting their own way, getting a new owner. But there's always people. It's like working at unions, isn't it? If we're all dissatisfied with our pay, the unions will go on strike.
Yeah,
members will go on strike, but the people who are not part of the unions will call the unions disruptive. But if we get increased pay, they will benefit, and it's the same.
Exactly.
Yeah, so the protests, people who don't protest will benefit if any protest is successful.
100%. Kenny, let me ask you a question. Nuno Espirito Santo
yes,
is available. He's left his position today. It's his final day as Wolves manager. I personally think he's going to Tottenham.
Yes.
But do you think there's a glimmer of hope that Mikel's getting sacked and we could employ him, or do you just think that's nailed on Tottenham?
Unfortunately, I don't see Mikel getting sacked. I want him to be replaced because I think this season, no European football should be punishable. No Champions League football should be equally punishable. Results at the Emirates should be punishable, and the amount of the fact our league placing should be punishable, and the fact we've lost 13 games this season, it should be punishable. But what will happen now is that once you've got fans and pundits talking about our form from Boxing Day, then you'll have a situation where Mikel will be in a job long term, and then what will happen? They'll sell the fact that he hasn't had a pre-season. They'll sell the fact that it's COVID, and they'll also sell the fact that he had a tumultuous season because he had to get rid of a divided dressing room. That is what you're going to be sold, and basically it's going to be like at a high price as well. And the high price is him staying in his job. Sad but true.
Listen, Kenny, big up to you, my guy. We're going to do player ratings in a minute. Thank you very much for coming on. Always love you coming on, man. I love speaking to you,
well,
man.
I love doing it. But what I will say before we go is that when are we going to get back the days of Patrick Vieira, Ashley Cole, Robert Perez, Pierre Henry? Because ultimately, that's what us fans want. We don't want top four. We want to be back to those days where we respect. It's a long time, but that has to be a goal.
We have to accept they're long gone. We're just a mid-table team now, Kenny. But listen, my guy, I love you, man.
Definitely. Speak soon.